welcome to What Pet Should I Get? My name is Julia Batchelor. We have an excellent program for you today. On the show, Carly Whirl is here from Coveted Canines Rescue, and Claire Fordrin will be here later on in the program from Dog Child's Rescue and Animal Sanctuary. And up first, we have the lovely Callie Milliman with an adorable little white bunny named McTwisp, which is a very interesting name, and we'll get to her in a moment. But I wanted to ask you, so last week, I believe it was, who was on with me last week?
Q-Tip.
Yeah, who was
the cat, right?
Yeah. So Q-Tip was she's a 12-year-old ragdoll. Can we just show a picture of, there she is, look at that face.
Yes, that's her. So she's still available for adoption.
Okay.
And so she is at our center on Woodbine Avenue for anybody who maybe saw the program last week or if they missed it. Q-Tip's adorable, and she is there and ready to go home.
Excellent. So she's looking for a home. She's 12, so she's still got lots of life in her. And if you're a fan of cats who have a bit of a pedigree, she's a ragdoll mix. So that's a fancy cat, in other words.
It definitely adds to her good looks.
Now, also, in just past recent weekend, there was a national adoption event that happened at, was it Pet Value?
PetSmart.
PetSmart.
Yeah. So
forgive me.
It was right across the country. PetSmart does these national adoption weekends about three or four times a year.
Yeah.
So we were at multiple locations around York Region, and it was great. So we had the opportunity to get some cats adopted through PetSmart, as well as some small animals, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of folks, if they can't make it to our location or what have you, maybe they are close to a PetSmart. So we love PetSmart National Adoption Weekend, and we're so happy that we had some animals go home.
Yeah, and I understand that you had, there was a bunch of rats taken, I think it was from a hoarding situation.
Yes, that's right.
And the Ontario SPCA, along with other organizations, took on a bunch of these rats. And how many do you guys have right now?
Oh, good question. It's definitely getting,
a lot.
Yeah, well, it's starting to get lower, though, because of the partnership with PetSmart. So prior to the National Adoption Weekend, we had a PetSmart Rat Adopt-a-thon. That went on for a couple of weeks, and we saw hundreds of rats go home, which is amazing. So I know we still have a few at our center, and then we still have a few at a couple of the PetSmarts. So they're still there, but right across the province, like you mentioned, there were about 600 rats that were sort of divided up amongst some of our animal centers, and we've seen quite a number go home, which is amazing, and a big shout out to all the communities around the province that have helped us out and have adopted. So it's great.
Well, you know, I always say, especially in the rodent family, one of the best pets that you can get. I know some people out there are a little bit creeped out by rats, but rats make amazing pets. They're social, they love people, they love their owners, they bond really well, and they like to be held, picked up, played with, and they're smart.
They actually are really smart. You can train a rat, so yeah they can make really amazing pets.
Well, speaking of animals in the rodent family, we have McTwisp. Now, I got to ask first off, how did she get that name?
So I believe it's a character from Alice in Wonderland. So we get creative sometimes with our animal names. You know, when you have so many animals coming in, you have to start to just think of movie characters and whatever else you can sort of do.
Themes,
so,
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, she's really beautiful. She's really sweet. So she's only one. So she's just young, and she's doing pretty well. So as you can see, she's sitting fairly calm. She's definitely a little bit timid, but she's so young that I think she's still got time to grow with the family.
Oh yeah, well, you know, rabbits by nature, they're a prey species, so their instincts are always to be cautious and to be a little bit nervous. That's what it is. But I know as somebody who has had pet rabbits since childhood, the more they're handled, the more comfortable they become, and they can become quite loving and fun companions.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, as much as sometimes they are considered a more low maintenance pet, because the care for a rabbit can be fairly easy in terms of, you know, keeping their bedding clean, their shavings clean, replacing their food and water daily, that kind of thing. It's very routine, and it can be, you know, a great sort of starter pet for a family if they're looking to integrate an animal into their home. But as you mentioned, they do need to be handled. They do need to be socialized, because their instinct will be to become sort of fearful and shy. But if you're spending time with them, they're getting to know your voice, they're getting to cuddle with you, they're going to become extremely comfortable, and then they're going to make a much better pet. So socialize your small animals, because they need love too.
Yeah, and I know, you know, the necessities for a pet rabbit, obviously you want a secure cage, especially if you have other animals in the house. But like you said, we don't always want the rabbit to be living its entire life in a cage. And I know from my friend, she's a huge rabbit lover, and her rabbits actually have caged-in spaces on the floor.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so they have a lot of, a huge amount of space to run around. And I've seen when I visited the Ontario SPCA, when you guys allow, like have the space to allow it, your rabbits are housed that way too.
That's right. So we have a small animal exercise room. So overnight, they are kept in their smaller cages, just obviously for so that they aren't sort of mingling with one another, because if they don't get along in the night, we're not there, right? They can be territorial. So, but during the day, once the staff come in, we'll put a rabbit into like an X pen, like you mentioned. So it's a nice large space. We'll put some veggies in there, put their water and their food and everything in there for them, and then they can sort of stretch their legs. That gets them out and about. What's really fantastic too is if you adopt a rabbit, you can get an X pen very similar to what we have. You can get that at your local PetSmart as well. And you can actually take them outside in the backyard, and then they can run around in the grass. Of course, like I say, with the X pen, and I would recommend just keeping an eye on them while you're while they're out there.
Never leave them unsupervised.
Yeah, don't leave them unsupervised. But that can be a really great time for them to get some fresh air. You know, rabbits they love the outdoors, they love the grass. So why not take them out and get them some exercise outside?
Well, and you know, obviously the food that you feed your rabbit is those typical pellets that you buy. But if you're going to take them outside onto the grass, obviously one thing, not that I hope nobody's doing this anymore, no pesticides on your lawn. Rabbits love dandelions.
Okay.
Yeah. And dandelions are actually very healthy. And so if you are taking your rabbit outside, they're going to graze, they're going to nibble, they're going to eat the grass, which is good for them, and they're going to eat dandelions. Just make sure, I guess there are, like with cats and stuff, there are plants that can be toxic to them, so that's something you may want to think about when you're out there, right?
Yeah, and in moderation. If they're not used to eating a lot of natural plants, you might notice a change in their digestion and in their stool. So just keep an eye on how much they're consuming. But yeah, I mean, they would love it. And again, that's all about their enrichment. That helps keep your rabbit happy, and that's what you want, because that's what's going to make them live a longer, healthier life and a happier life.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, I mean, Easter's just around the corner, and not that we want anybody getting temporary pets, because a rabbit has a lifespan that can go, a well-kept rabbit can live 10 plus years.
Yes.
But what if you're looking in the mood for having a pet rabbit join your family, and you also want to combine it with an Easter present? This is the perfect time, right?
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, they are still a commitment, so we always want to encourage a forever home, not just a for now home or for a holiday home. But yeah, I mean, it can be a great time, and as spring hits, we have lots of rabbits coming in, so definitely check out our website.
Thank you so much, Callie. So if you're interested in learning more about McTwisp or visiting you can visit our website for details, or go to the Ontario SPCA located on Woodbine Avenue. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the other side of the break. Hello and welcome back. Joining me now is the lovely Carly Worrell from Coveted Canines Rescue, and she has brought with her what I have been informed as is the unicorn of dogs. And I want to talk about Nickel. Nickel's a boy.
Nickel's a boy.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Nickel, but before we talk about Nickel, I want to talk about this big fundraiser that's going to be happening on March 4th. Now, Coveted Canines is a not-for-profit, so you know there's no money being generated other than the goodness of people's hearts and donations and the partnerships that you have with companies. And I know it's tough because you rescue dogs that you don't turn away a dog just because it needs a little bit of veterinary care. And I understand right now you have a lot of bills on your plate.
Yes, I mean this month alone, 7 of the dogs that came through the rescue need dentals, and we all know like, when you need a dental, you're looking at $600 to $1,200 a dog. Yeah. We do blood work on every one of our dogs. We do 40X tests, which they test for things like Ehrlichia, anaplasmosis, Lyme's, heartworm. Every dog that's come through has been Ehrlichia positive or anaplasma positive, so we have to treat them with doxycycline, and then we have to do a repeat CBC, which is a complete blood count at the end of treatment to make sure that treatment works. Yep. This all costs money. Microchips, spaying and neutering, vaccinations, fecals.
Yeah, and I imagine with the adoption cost that comes with getting a dog doesn't cover all of this. This
the
is
vetting.
That's minor. So the event that's coming up is actually sounds really, really cool. So March 4th, which is on a Saturday. you have a comedy festival. So tell us about this.
We have, I think it's 7 comedians.
7, yep.
And they will be each performing in benefit to Coveted Canines. So 100% of the proceeds go to Coveted Canines, and all of that earned, all the money earned will go to our vetting. Every cent.
This is no small potatoes kind of thing. This is the Second City.
Yes.
It's at the John Candy Theater.
Yes.
And the door price, $15. That's a steal.
Yes, we wanted to make it very, we want as many people as possible to come, so we thought we would make it more affordable.
Yeah.
And hopefully people can buy tickets for their friends. Mm-hmm. I'm buying tickets for my friends.
Nice. Yeah. I think it's a great event. I just actually went and saw Jerry Seinfeld, and I'm telling you.
You should come.
Oh, yeah.
I'll buy you a ticket.
Let's talk about some of these comedians that are going to be here. So if you're a comedy lover and want to watch live comedy, we have Deanne Smith, Pat Thornton, Alison Dorr, Christoph Davidson, Guled Abdi, Shirley Whalen, and Andrew Ivamy. Now, how did this all come together?
So Deanne is an adopter from Coveted Canines. She adopted an adorable Chihuahua named Rudy.
Yeah.
And just the most adorable Chihuahua, like a 4-pound Chihuahua from actually the same place that Nickel came from.
In Mexico?
Yeah, Eveline Garreau. She is an amazing rescuer, and she takes like the worst cases you can ever imagine, gets them healthy to send to us. And then Andrew, he also adopted a dog from a Scar.
And Scar's been featured on the show.
Yes, and Scar, we had him for almost 8 months. He got returned a whole bunch of times because of his separation anxiety.
Yeah, he was a good dog. He just needed, he's been abandoned probably at one point in his life, and he's like, it's not happening again.
Exactly. Right? And Andrew, he's a marathon runner.
Okay. Oh, so he takes the dog for runs.
So Scar's so exhausted from all the exercise, and then Diana and Andrew do all of this mental simulation games with Scar, and they do training. They're very dedicated, and with training, mental stimulation games, and tons of exercise, Scar is in his happy place.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
So these 2 comedians have gotten together with 5 of their other comedian friends, obviously. So there's going to be this amazing event. So please mark that on your calendar. March 4th, it's downtown Toronto. We've put a link on our website, so you can click right on the link, and it takes you to purchase tickets. And of course, Coveted Canines Rescue, you guys are such an amazing organization. What a fun way just to help you out and do what you do best, which is rescue wonderful dogs. And let's talk about wonderful dogs, because we have, as you said, the unicorn of dogs. We have little Nickel. So explain what you mean by that.
Okay, so we get emails all the time from potential adopters asking for dogs, saying, do you have any dogs that are available they don't bark, they don't shed, they're hypoallergenic, they're potty trained, they walk perfectly on the leash, they're good with kids, cats, and dogs, they're crate trained, everything you could ever want in a dog.
Yeah.
So we call them the unicorn applicants.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, this person wants a unicorn. Now, anyone who works in rescue knows. You won't get all. You won't. It's like when you're looking to buy a house. Yeah. You want this, and this, and then, you look for houses and you realize that you may get 3 or 4 things on your list, but you're not going to get all of them.
You're not getting granite counters, okay?
That's what I'm saying. You can get that. If you work on training. But a lot of people just don't.
They want a complete dog.
They want a complete dog. Yeah. So occasionally, we get the unicorn dog. The dog that has all of those things.
I have to take a picture of this dog and make so people know that they exist.
And he's potty trained. He walks perfectly on leash. He doesn't bark. He's wonderful with kids, cats, and dogs. He has no resource guarding. He sleeps perfectly in a crate. Never ever barks when you leave him in the crates. He doesn't chew on things. I mean, I can't even, anything you could ever imagine. He's not fussy with his food. He takes his medication because he's being treated for urlichia. Okay. And so he has to have doxycycline twice a day. Okay. He takes his pills. There's just no problems.
Oh, and I know trying to give I have a cat that had to take pills, and that was
can be really hard. Yeah. You can also touch his ears. You can trim his nails. He lets you do all of this. You can groom him. You can bathe him without any kind of issue. He has no fear of men.
Nice.
I mean, I can't say enough good things about this dog. He's amazing.
Can I show you? Sent me a picture of Nickel when you guys found this dog. Can we bring that picture up? So he's from Mexico.
Yes.
And you think because this dog it's such a good dog that his backstory, he's probably been dumped. Well, but there he is before. He was looking a little rough, but now he's gorgeous. He
has dreadlocks under his chin. Aww. Yeah.
Well, look at it, and he seems to be, from whatever the brought him to that point, and now where he is, he doesn't seem to be ill-affected by it.
No, he has no fears.
Yeah. So he's a perfect dog.
He doesn't have anxiety.
Well, look at him. He seems really stressed as he's falling asleep on your arm.
He's one of the, we call them the Netflix dogs.
He Netflix and chills, does he?
He will chill, but he'll also walk forever if you want to take him for a walk.
Good.
So we call them the active chill dogs.
Nice.
Yeah. So active chill means he'll be chill when you're chill, and he'll be active when you're active.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, he sounds amazing. Now we're almost out of time. He's ready to go, right? You said he's
yes. So what would happen with him is that he would take his doxycycline for the remainder of the period he's being treated, and then at that point, when it's done, we do another CBC, and that's all covered by the rescue with the adoption fee.
Okay. And then so as soon as he's healthy, he's good to go, and so he's available for adoption. Now, quickly before we run out, you have a need for people who are traveling to Mexico to what other locations?
We're really sort of looking for Cozumel and Cancun, Mexico.
Okay, so Cozumel and Cancun. So if anybody's out there that's traveling, please connect with Coveted Canines because they're looking for people to escort dogs and or cages or both. We can find more
donations.
And supplies and donations, of course. So we're just running out of time. So we're just about out of time. So if you are interested in learning more about that, please connect. The Coveted Canines link is on our website, and you can connect with Carly directly and find out more. So if you are vacationing and you want to do that, that would be such a big help.
Yes.
Don't forget March 4th, Comedy with Benefits. Mark that on your calendar. Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you for bringing Nicole. And we'll see you on the other side of the break. And welcome back. Joining me now is Claire Forendren from Dogtails Rescue and Sanctuary. How you doing?
I'm good.
And today you have brought Ami with you. But before we talk about Ami, last week we had Gizmo and Toby on, and they were so adorable. I mean, all dogs are adorable. So can we just show pictures to remind people of Gizmo? Now, Gizmo was our little girl she's from Yulin.
Yeah.
Correct? There she is. Look at that face. So cute. And I know she has, you said it was a heart condition, but it's controlled by medication, very simple,
very easy
and
to manage.
And what you're saying is also the medication it's a minimal cost. It's not an expensive thing. So is somebody showing interest in adopting Gizmo?
So we don't have any interest in Gizmo just yet. I mean, there are a couple of families that have visited with him, but then they've ended up falling in love with other dogs, which is a shame. So he's still very much available for adoption, and you know, he's a special little guy, so he needs a very special home.
Well, he's very a loving, super loving, outgoing personality.
Yeah.
And then you also brought Toby with you, and can we just remind people of what Toby looked like? I know when Toby came in, beautiful dog. I know he looks a little pink because he had a rough ride before he got to Dogtails, right?
Yeah. So when he came to us, he was suffering from a skin condition called Demodex. So actually, he had no fur on his face and some pretty angry-looking sores when he arrived, but his fur is starting to grow back in, and once it does, he's going to be the most handsome dog
He's
around.
a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I imagine he's almost there. He's almost entirely healed. And when he was on set, I know he's a little bit on the shyer side, but he was quite comfortable. He came, sat down, and I think it's as long as he's in a good, safe environment, he's going to be a relaxed, happy, open dog, right?
Exactly. And we were joking on the way back last week that Gizmo and Toby should almost be adopted as a bonded pair because they were sitting on top of one another in the car, and Gizmo was licking Toby's face. And so if you're looking for two dogs, they're both still available.
You know, if you open your home to an animal, and I know most animal lovers, once you know what it takes to take care of an animal, it's like children. You're like, well, we know what we need to do with one. What's another one? And so having two dogs, sometimes three. I mean, after a bit, that can be difficult. But I think two dogs is not a lot. Like if you got one, two's just as easy.
Exactly. In many ways, I feel like having two dogs can make things easier because
they have each other.
Friends, they entertain each other. You feel less guilty if you have to go to work or to the store. Yeah, and I mean, to see that bond that an animal can have with another animal rather than just humans, it's pretty incredible. So
I did that with my cat. I adopted a cat who was super shy, super nervous, and then I got a kitten. There was a little bit of a growth period for both of them because the kitten was a typical kitten, always jumping on her, and that annoyed her. But now they're as thick as thieves. They sleep together, and and I think I knew to get her a companion besides human companionship would be helpful to bring out her personality, and it did.
Absolutely.
It worked that way.
Yeah, we actually have a number of really shy, scared dogs that we're specifically looking for homes with other dogs for those dogs, because really, a dog can teach another dog, or a cat can teach another cat so much better than we can teach them as humans.
Yeah, they definitely have their own language. Well, speaking of dog personalities, Ami. Now, Ami is one of the dogs that came from the shelter in Israel. How long has he been at Dogtails now?
He has been at Dogtails for about 3 months now, so he was part of the last group
batch
that arrived. He's one of the last Israeli dogs in our shelter.
The Israeli dogs are going fast, so just, you got to get into Dogtails and you make sure you snatch one up because they're almost all gone.
It's crazy. I mean, for the past year, half of our kennel at any given time has been dogs from that shelter, so it's weird to see those numbers dwindling down, but wonderful. And Ami, he's the dog that all of our volunteers are obsessed with. He loves to sit on people's laps. I know he is not a lap dog size, but he loves to be as close to you as possible.
He's a handsome boy.
He's a very handsome boy.
Yeah, so what's his personality assessment? You said obviously he's a love bug.
Yeah.
How is he with other dogs?
He is not a big fan of other dogs. He can be a little grouchy. He likes his space, so he doesn't really enjoy play group. He'd rather be with our handlers than with the other dogs.
Okay.
So we're looking for a home where he can be the
only
star
dog
of the show.
Yeah, and obviously you get a lot of visitors at Dogtails, families coming in. What's he like with kids?
He's amazing with kids. Because he can be a little grouchy with other dogs, I wouldn't want to put him with children 12 and under, just because they need
something
to be old
that's at
enough
eye level
to
with
know.
the dog.
Exactly. But no, he's amazing and very affectionate, loves to kiss, loves to play catch. That's his favorite thing to do, especially now that the weather is warmer. He's out every day with our handlers playing catch.
Okay, so he's Mr. People Person. So Ami would be a great dog for, I guess, anybody, as long as this is going to be your first and only dog.
Yes.
And you take your chances how he's going to be with cats, because you guys, I know it's hard to assess for you guys what they're like with other species.
Yeah,
right?
That's definitely something. If you have a cat, we can do a check. But as of right now, we have no idea how he would be with a cat.
Now, I know people come to you and there's, it's a bit of a process because you want to make sure you find the right dog for the right family. Do you guys go to the homes of the people ever?
We do, yeah. So basically every adoption we handle on a case-by-case basis. So with some families, we don't feel that a home check is needed, but sometimes we do. Or sometimes certain dogs have very specific needs, like they need a fenced-in yard. So we'll go to the family's home and just make sure that there are no gaps or holes in the fence, that sort of thing.
Now, we're almost out of time, but I wanted to mention, so Dogtails is getting quite the global reputation. I don't want to say getting, I think you already have it. And you've had some very famous visitors. Adrienne Grenier has visited Dogtails. And just recently you had Maggie Q, for people who are fans of the show Designated Survivor. She came to visit, and I was looking up her Facebook page. She's a huge animal activist. I think she's a vegan, too.
She is. Yeah, so it was an amazing visit. I feel like we were really kindred spirits. She had so much to talk about, from, how smart pigs can be, to her love of horses, to her newest rescue dog who had some behavioral issues at first. She was adopted from Toronto Animal Services, and her journey helping rehabilitate her and integrate her into her home. So it was really amazing to talk to someone with such a love and passion for animals, just like we do.
That's excellent. So I always say, if you're interested in adopting, well, Ami in particular, please, all the information's on our website, but go to Dogtails, and all the more reason you may see a famous face there. You might run into Maggie Q and get an autograph. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
for
you.
Any more information, please visit our website. And remember, adoption is always, always, always the best choice when getting a pet.